What up traders, what up investors, Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and we're doing a little bit of video a little bit earlier in the day looking at some really interesting activity that came out of Boeing or BA stock. As of yesterday, we had more analysts coming in and kind of downgrading the stock, giving it a slap across the face. And we're looking at some particular trades. One individual betting nearly $1.6 million on a rise in BA stock into August 21st expiration, so next monthly expiration in August, betting a pretty substantial amount. Again, this is the the onslaught of just the issues that BA is having, but it's been holding up and really holding very well due to some of the criticism and just the pies, the slaps, the kicks and the cojones, and it just continues being very resilient. Basically, they're saying only 10 of the 28 analysts covering the company's shares are saying it's a buy. So 10 out of 28, whatever. For me, what I think, in my honest opinion, or what I suggest a lot of the times is the analysts are somewhat, they don't have skin in the game, so I know they're covering it for their firm, their research firm, their banks and things like that, but I feel like they're not well immersed inside the company. I understand they know the balance sheet inside and out, but they're not really, there is no skin in the game, so they can kind of give these arbitrary numbers where they, from their pivot tables that they use to kind of calculate XYZ models for the aerospace industry or things like that. We all know that the overall pandemic, the virus really took a big slap in the face to a lot of the airlines and especially travel and things like that. But the also other component is that this is a not only 40-ish, 50% of BA's company's balance sheet. A lot of the other stuff is government-run stuff. They're doing other various things for the military and things like that to kind of break down the balance sheet. Yes, that their most newest airplane, the Max 8 and 9, are not able to fly, and basically due to lack of people willing to travel, it just kind of hasn't been really picking up yet. Citing that this is continue more downside, giving a price target of $149. Again, I feel like this number is somewhat, I wish they would kind of, they're just saying some negative things. They're like, okay, it's just because no one's flying. I wish they kind of just a little bit looked at their overall models and things like that. They had multiple cancellations in 2020, but this is the key point, which is still kind of crazy why the individual, because I do, on the channel we do a lot of technical analysis, but we need to implement some fundamentals so we kind of know what the picture is going on and just really the key points. So one of the key points is there still are more than 8,000 orders on the backlog. I mean, 4,000 orders on the backlog. 4,000 customers that still need planes. Okay, yep, 300 out of the 4,000 that got canceled. Come on, that's not a drop in the ocean, but it's still significant. But we still have 4,000 orders in the backlog, because again, how many companies can create commercial airline style aircraft? 2. You got BA, you got Airbus. That's it. So they really have a strong competitive advantage. Yes, they're in pretty rough waters here, and it doesn't look really great, but if you're a long-term investor and you're willing to have the patience and things like that, I think things could work out for BA, and that's what we're doing within the stock as well. So let's go ahead and we'll look at the trade, and we'll look at the overall the technical side of BA. So we got BA here, kind of little example. It kind of was just chugging along. Again, had the issues due to the multiple crashes and the failure of the Max 8 stability control system. Then after the virus hit, it just took a huge tank, going down all the way down to $89. Kind of made a rebound, kind of had troubles breaking above the 21 exponential moving average. Finally did with the 5 and 8 momentum coming through with a nice squeeze, firing along. Really went up. We talked about the potential 200-day exponential moving average coming down as resistance. Never really got up to that level, and then kind of fell off the cliff on that. holding the 21, 34 kind of came in for ongoing support to kind of help some of the emotional selling here, and then kind of just chugging along and just trading sideways here. We made this magical line with the help from Brian. We enchanted this line. We call this the snow line now, because this is like a huge semi-truck that has snow tires on, and it's just slowly just chugging up the hill at like 15 miles per hour. It's just taking its time. We want it to hold this magical line. We do have another squeeze in place. We do have earnings on the horizon, so be mindful of that. I'm not going to be jumping in full position on this stock and just going complete gangbusters and just putting all my eggs in one basket and just hoping for this to go back to $200, $300 in the next couple months. I don't see that happening. I think we're going to have a slow grind, especially with earnings on the horizon. It could be a coin flip, so I'm not going full size. We're just looking for, if you're going to be more on the bullish side, to kind of break above that 193 level here. And if you're going to be a little bit more negative and just seeing that everything's going to fail and it's going to fall out of the sky, lack of a better words, you're going to start seeing this break below the 50. So that's currently around like 167 to 166, and start breaking down to that 147 price target, where I would like to add more shares if it ever gets down there. With earnings, anything can happen. We just saw what happened in Netflix. The growth is starting to slow down a little bit, and the Wall Street investors did not like that, and they sold it pretty heavily, bringing it down to 450 in after-hours trading, now kind of settling around like the 485, 490. So we'll see how that opens up today on Friday. Again, this is only 7 in the morning, so this is before the market opens. Looking at some trades that happened that were pretty significant on BA. We had multiple larger positions going out here, basically a lot of spreads. This one is not really, is a little strange. It looks like someone wants to create a longer term position, is just buying really deep in the money calls here to kind of basically potentially acquire some shares. We have a lot of activity in August. We have the 21st of August, we had 763 contracts at the 180 call, and same with 1,000 of them at the 180 call as well. And we have some further ones out in September. That's the 185 for a pretty substantial discount. Honestly, this is probably rather give myself a little bit more time, and I really enjoy the September ones, and we'll see on how that looks like. So we're going to look at basically this, so we can create that order. They basically paid $1.7 million for that, so pretty substantial without a doubt. So let's go ahead and we'll pull up Tastyworks, and we're looking for the 185 price. Those are already kind of currently up, so we're looking at 185 call in 18th of September. So that's what we have pulled up here, and they bought, well, it was like a weird arbitrary number. Oh, it was just 900. Okay, so 900 of those. So they're already up about $60,000-$70,000. Which is, again, these options is out of the money. It's very close to being in or near the money. So that's going to be, that line is right there, kind of significantly showing that. Showing again that this is a little further out. You're talking about 63 days, not being fully invested longer term, but they're looking for a potential play for this to kind of continue running up, potentially having the 180, 175 be a very strong hold, and see that this can continue going higher. You can see here that the options prices are fairly wide here since the market's not open yet, but you can see that just at alone one option is costing about $2,000. Once that, if it starts moving higher, you can start seeing that delta really kicks in, and it starts moving that price up substantially to 25 to 27 to 3,000 and so forth. It can get pretty pricey, and there's a lot of open interest on a lot of these moving averages here, because BA is a very heavy institutional holding for a lot of companies or a lot of firms. And once it got hit, it got ratcheted. And the one thing I always look at is this Chaikin money flow on the weekly side. So this is kind of the, what's the best way to say it? It's basically the, in term of the investor grade, not hedge funds, but look, the larger pensions, the larger, we're talking like the billions plus investors who have to buy substantially amount of shares to make even a dent in their overall portfolio. And this has kind of just been leveling off. We could see that's potentially even we're looking for this to kind of increase after earnings, maybe a week or two after earnings, to start kind of digest the information and figure what's going on. On the weekly side, this is what we're really looking at on the longer term, on it really just holding this 173 to 175 level, and then continue grinding higher with that snow level to the short term. With earnings on the horizon, you have to be very mindful that could be going up or down, because on that earnings they're saying it's the 29th. That is a potential move of $21 plus or minus. So basically where we're at right now, just call it 180, be around 160, and then up to $200. So that's a pretty large range without a doubt. But on the weekly side, you're going to be a little bit more patient. You can kind of be a little more picky with your overall buying here. That being said, we're looking for this to kind of hold, buying a very small position into this. We're selling some premium here just for the short term, potentially be adding some shares if this can hold here at 175, potentially at the close of this week, and then just doing a starter position and then seeing how earnings comes out, and could continue going higher or lower after that. Again, no crystal ball here, but we'll see what happens. Again, RSI has been really flat. Momentum is starting to pick up a little bit, but with earnings, that could literally just put a wet towel in your face. I don't know if a wet towel is a bad thing. Probably a good thing if it's hot outside, but it can really just it can just put a crink in your walk. There we go. That sounds better, Ken. Good job. And this could just really just make this completely, not sell off, but continue going lower. We do have some stronger support around that 138 level on the weekly side with those parabolic SARs. The only thing is on the daily parabolic SAR, we're starting to come down lower, lower, lower. So if we do get this squeeze to potentially fire higher, this could kind of change that parabolic SAR to the bottom. But that is still pretty far off. That's around 207, 208 right now. But we need a lot of momentum to even get and break through that overhead resistance there. Alright guys, thank you so very much. If you're interested, we have a fantastic Discord chat. If you want to support the channel even more, we have a Patreon page. We're probably going to be doing some kind of more of a intimate just Patreon only, or just making a small group of folks who have questions on options, stock trading, and things like that. We can go cover that and fundamentals around that. We might be doing that, so keep an eye out for that. And I hope to see everyone for the fantastic live stream on this Sunday. Again, that's the live stream that we do on every Sunday around 9:30 to kind of talk about stocks, charts, and just have a good time. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.